All right, folks, we are back with another episode of Más que un Podcast. It's me, John, and I am here with Buga and Pablo. And later on in this episode, we're bringing in the world famous Leah Binkin. We're having our first guest on this episode. Before we get into things, make sure you like, subscribe, share, give us a 5-star rating, all the things that you know help support the channel. We really do appreciate it. In today's episode, we'll be talking about the most recent match against Celta Vigo. We got some controversy. We do. We'll be getting into that. We'll be talking about the latest news around Mbappe potentially going to Real Madrid again. Here we are again. And then we'll be saving some topics for Leah. We'll be talking Barca's next manager, next steps for Xavi, who's Barca going to have at left wing in 2024-25. And then, of course, we'll get into some UCL predictions. That's coming up later. Make sure you stay tuned. Drop your comments. We want to hear from you. With all that out of the way, boys, how we feeling? How we doing? Pablo, let's start with you, good sir.
Yeah, I'm not doing too badly. I think, again, it's another one, obviously, with Barcelona knocked out of a lot of things, and the Champions League coming up next week. A little bit of an uneventful week again, and a really typical Barcelona game against Celta, I thought. No, it's like, how many times has that happened this season? I think I saw an incredible stat with how many points we've won in added time this season, by the way, and I mean, it was a typical Barca game. There were really like 2 Lewandowski goals, one of them being a penalty, a retaken penalty at that. We weren't inspiring well. We're not exactly playing good football or, having this incredible reaction after Xavi's departure. I saw Real drop points today against Real, and I think, unfortunately, when you get those killer moments where it's like, I saw someone say, if we'd beaten Villarreal where we had them, we were 3-1 and got awarded that penalty. And if we had beaten Granada, who we also had in the palm of our hand last weekend, we would have been 3 points off Real Madrid. So moments like that obviously hurt, and it's like, we're not that far away. It's what I was trying to say a few times on the podcast, like football's margins, but at the end of the day, Real Madrid are going to run away with this title. But yeah, I mean, on Celta Vigo, it's one of those ones, but we can't really overanalyze it. We better not play like that against Napoli, because I think else we're in for a tough awakening, a rude awakening. I think we might be anyway, to be honest, us away from home in Europe. Is anyone else dreading that? I think I am a little bit. But Celta Vigo, was another one of those typical away games for Barca in La Liga now.
Yeah. Pablo had a lot to say from one match. How are you? My God,
Pablo holds this all in. He holds it in for a whole week, and then it just rips for it, and it comes out.
I just want to
let a little summary. Yeah, just a little summary to get us started, lads. A little summary for the fans.
Yeah. Got to get people up to speed. Buga, how you feeling, my man?
I'm good. This game has resulted in probably my favorite meme ever since I became a Barca fan, and that's the following of the face of Xavi just looking at the camera after we won the game. And let me read out one post that I wanted to translate from someone on Twitter. It's like, imagine the face of Xavi. Everybody close your eyes. Envision Xavi and that photo of him looking at the camera and the camera stops. It freezes with that freeze frame on Xavi's face, and he says, "Hello, I'm Xavi Hernandez. Some call me Javier, some call me Xavi. All of my friends call me Javier. Today, I will tell you how I resigned and came back in the league and then won the Champions League without my players knowing how to press and give more than 2 passes together. It won't be easy, but this is my story." I just love that. I don't know why.
Like a scene out of a series, isn't it?
I do love that moment. I mean, he goes back and forth. He's looking at the camera. He's looking at the cameraman. Am I right? He's kind of going like, "Why are you looking at me right now? We just, Lewandowski just won the match for us, right?
Yeah.
Right over there is where you want to be." Yeah. He is so tired of the media focusing on the manager spot. Am I right?
Yeah.
He is done. It was like a defeated man. But to be fair, I mean, that cameraman's job literally is to film the manager's reaction after his team scores, but like...
Yeah,
it's an interesting break of the fourth wall, if you know what I'm saying. Like, you're not supposed to acknowledge that the cameras are on the pitch. You're not really supposed to interact with them in that way. But for him to, because he's not just calling out the camera person in that case, right? He's calling out the production of it, right? It's very meta. It's very, breaking the fourth wall, like I said. So Xavi Hernandez, interesting character. I look forward to 20, 30 years down the road getting the book from Xavi Hernandez and reading the chapters on his days of Barcelona. Yeah. This is going to be very interesting stuff, I think.
It's going to be an audiobook, and he's going to read it himself.
I hope so, dude. I hope so. I'm tuned in for sure. So
Ooh, mate,
takeaways.
you might have to displace your Ferran Torres book off the shelf.
Oh, no, that's never gonna happen, dude. Even if Mbappe comes and takes the number 7 shirt, I'm still Ferran, the shark.
Papa Shark. Got to stay strong. Other takeaways from this match, boys. I know there's going to be controversy, right?
I just want to call out
Lewandowski
something
penalty.
first. Can I call something
Do it.
first?
Yes, you can.
Renato Tapia, Peruvian player. He played a really good game.
I didn't realize the connection. I should have seen that coming.
Dude, he normally is like okay with the national team, and he's normally trash everybody else, everywhere else. But today he played good, and I was like, dude, you're doing good. I don't know if it's Barca that is so shit that it makes him look good or whatnot, but kudos to him because he's playing good. He played good football. That's everything that I wanted to say. Go to Pablo next.
That's the takeaway, lads.
Yeah. Shout out to Peru on the map, of course, and Tapia, friend of the pod, naturally.
No, just quickly on you say about the controversy for that penalty. This is the issue now with Real Madrid, in this league, that they'll make controversy out of things that aren't controversial. That penalty is about absolutely stone wall. He kicks through him as he meant to clear the ball, and that man got there first, and he's just Yamal got there first, and he just kicked through him. It's a stone wall penalty, and of course, it has to be retaken because he's very far off his goal line. It's not rocket science. And then they're saying that Rafinha was encroaching in the retake when he scored. But Guaita was also off his line for that retake, so had he saved that, they would have had to retake it again. So apparently that cancels out the encroachment. And anyway, by the way, they never give encroachment in football for when you score a penalty. By the way,
True.
Go back and watch every penalty that's scored, and there's a guy in the box before the ball's taken. I promise you, go on YouTube now and it's there. So nothing controversial about the penalty. Nothing.
Yeah, Buga, same thing for you. Stonewall penalty, simple retake, no controversy.
Yeah. For me, it reminds me a lot of the one that Lenglet gave away like a season ago or 2 seasons ago, or was it against PSG in the Champions League? I think. Yeah.
Just the one that
Lenglet
gave away.
He gave like
it was against Cadiz, I think, at home in the 90th minute.
3 penalties, almost the same penalties, the same foul, 3 times in the same season. Yeah. He did that. I still don't know why I have his shirt. I bought a shirt.
You bought a Lenglet kit? You bought I don't know. I'm speechless, Buga. So there were out of whoever else was on the roster.
Messi.
What year was this?
The year we reached. It was the year after we lost to Liverpool.
1920.
So the first season, he was really good. The first season, he was really good.
He was. I will give you that. Lenglet's first season, he was looking like
I remember.
And for
FIFA,
what we
he went
paid
from
for
82 to 86 in a year, and I was like, "Damn, this guy is gonna be amazing. He's so good in Ultimate Team." And I bought him. I bought his shirt. But in my defense, Pablo had also like a drawing or something of Lenglet.
I do have a Lenglet poster in my room. Yeah.
Yes.
We're both. I love Lenglet. I thought he was one of the best centre backs in Europe at Barcelona. I was tweeting about it.
He wasn't even so I will give you all credit. His first year at Barca, for what Barcelona paid for him, Lenglet was the transfer of the summer.
Yeah,
dollar for dollar, he was transfer of the summer.
But
then after that, it was just lack of focus and misfortune too. There was a lot of things that happened that were just again, Lenglet, it had to be you, right? So
yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
God, it's just you, John. Now you need like a little Lenglet, those little mini football figurines.
This is where I bust out my little Lenglet thing. Yeah. Wow, that's incredible.
You buy a dog, you have Puyo, and then you have Lenglet.
Puyo and Lenglet, yeah, exactly.
Some centre-back partnership.
Yeah, if I get some little Chihuahua next to my pit bull Puyo, then maybe I'll name that dog Lenglet.
Yeah,
I don't know.
By the way, John's dog is called Puyo, so that's why we're saying.
Yeah, he's a vicious pit bull. We've started calling him, most people when they're like, "Oh, what's your dog's name?" I'm like, "Oh, his name's Puyo." They go, "Pollo, like chicken?" I'm like, "All right, never mind. Just Carl. His name's Carl. Never mind."
Yeah,
Carl.
Yeah, it's easier for the gringos. Just stick to Carl.
For the gringos. Okay.
I don't even know where we are at this point.
Yeah.
Let's circle back to the match. So we're clear on the controversy.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about Vitor Roque. Got his first start. Am I right? On the left wing position.
I think Vitor Roque I still feel that he needs a little bit more of adaptation because he's a little bit too steadfast. He like is just looking for the goal. He's so energized, which I love. It's so good. I will be the same, right? If I'm starting for Barcelona, I'm 18 years of age. What more do I want to do in my life? I will give 100%, which is amazing. What he does, the runs of the ball, his movement, it just looks all superb. But I think that once again, he has two faces. He either has the one where he just does everything that Xavi tells him to do, and he just wants to be the teacher's pet so he gets approved. And then he has the other version where he's like, I'm just going to run off this pitch. I'm going to be talking about dogs. I'm going to be that pit bull. I'm going to be that, I don't even know dog breed. So yeah, I ran out of names. So yeah, he's just going to be that pit bull who just wants to like run all over the pitch. And I think that's the version that we saw today in Celta Vigo, maybe because it was his first start. I think that overall, like we see, let's say Napoli in the lineup against Napoli, I wouldn't necessarily put him starting from the get go. I do think that he looks such a more important player coming off the bench, sort of what Ferran is doing this season, maybe. And it's not like his role is to start at the moment. He's 18 years of age. He's going to be the backup striker to Lewandowski or whatnot. And right now he's being the backup he's like the fourth choice winger because we have none.
Yeah. Pablo, what do you think?
Yeah, to be fair, I agree with that. I think he won't start against Napoli, definitely. We'll probably go with four midfielders and then like Lewandowski and Lamine. And yeah, I think that's fine. I think he's doing okay. I think it's disappointing he was suspended against Granada. To be fair, I feel like that was sort of a game for him off the back of the 2 goals. But hey, he's doing fine. He's doing fine. But yeah, a few more appearances off the bench, and then he'll keep scoring goals. I think a few more before the end of the season, which is good.
Yeah, I think 18 nervy performance is how I read it. I think his first couple of times off of the bench, you saw a similar thing. Hard time settling on the ball, hard time getting connected in the flow of the match. So I think a little bit of a reversion back to that. So I think it's just a little bit of nerves, a couple more matches under his belt. I think he's going to be fine. Like you said, 18, one for the future. He's going to be Lewandowski's understudy here next season. I think we're good to go. I did want to talk about Lewandowski's performances as of late. He's up to 50 goals now for Barca. He's passed David Villa. He's passed Thierry Henry. And I'm starting to see a little bit of similarity, I'll say, between Lewandowski and the criticism that he's getting and the last couple seasons that Suarez had at Barcelona, where heavily under fire, but somehow, despite sometimes 90 minutes of garbage football, still finds the back of the net. Where are we at feeling about Lewandowski right now?
Yeah,
Who you want? Oh yeah, Pablo, go ahead.
Sorry. No, that's
Come on, Pablo, get it.
That's some stat, to be fair. I will say that he's obviously old. He's come to finish his career here, really, like his last top European club. 50 goals, is quite good for a season and a half. You got to say that really strong. So yeah. I back him on that number. We know he's been poor this season, though, and that the overall gameplay, people who watch the games can see that. I think it's a really good comparison, the one to Suarez. I was watching some clips of Messi and Suarez, as you do for a bit of like dopamine in the other day, and
a little pick me up, yeah,
serotonin or whatever it is. And I mean, my God, Messi, by the way, I can't believe we watched him every week. But anyway, that's a separate thing. But in the way that Lewandowski and Suarez, they haven't or weren't playing so well, and then bang, score. If Lewandowski does that, brilliant. Like if he does what he did against Celta Vigo all the time, that touch and that finish for the first goal, superb. Caught them off guard. Brilliant, world class, what he's done all his career, but he hasn't done that enough. 2024, he's turned the corner 100% a little bit with the goals, and hopefully he scores against Napoli again on Wednesday and helps us out in a big away European game.
Yeah, for sure.
This is where it pains me. Like, yeah, you said it perfectly. The last few seasons of Suarez were like he was getting way too much criticism, but I just hope the drop is not as catastrophic as we're seeing, because he still has those moments of brilliance that we're seeing here. And once again, when I go back to the entirety of the problem of Barcelona attacking, with not being as fluid, moving the ball, circulating around, I just got to say that I still believe that Lewandowski isn't primarily the main guy that we're suffering by. That he's not the main cause or reason for why we are this bad. So I still feel that there's a player in him, and particularly a player that if we get the ball to him, I know he can score the goals. But he's not much more than that at this point. He has to be just the guy in the box, getting chances and shooting into the back of the net. Like the passes, trying to be the target man, a false line, dropping it deep, creating 1-2s. To be the man, he's not that guy. He's certainly not that guy at this age, and he won't be. So I feel that that's where we need to stop looking at Lewandowski in that way, because he can still be a player of use for Barcelona, but he's not the complete footballer that we once knew.
Agreed. He's basically an upgraded Luke de Jong in the terms of like, this isn't the long-term solution, but you're going to get us goals right now. So come on in, my guy. That's how I see Lewandowski. It's
Loki. Luke de Jong is having a stellar season at PSV.
What player?
PSV's kind of fun to watch. As an American, I'm enjoying that club right now. And as a Barcelona supporter, praise be that Dest is playing the way that he's playing. I mean, I've given up hope for him actually coming back to Barcelona and playing, but that for his transfer value and us putting that towards somebody else in the summer, I'm excited for that. All right, gents. I know we were going to get to some other stuff before we brought on Leah, but it's about that time. So let's hit a quick pause, and then when we come back, we're going to have Leah Binkin on the line. We'll talk Champions League. We'll talk next steps for Xavi, Barca manager, all that good stuff. Let's do it. All right, we are back for part 2, and we've got Leah here with us. Leah, hello. Welcome to Más que un Podcast. You are our very first guest on the channel.
I'm really excited about this. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Leah, before we dive into things, where can people find you? What are your socials?
So on both my Instagram and my TikTok, it's just simply my name, Leah Binkin, spelled Liabinkin.
Absolutely. Check her out, giving some good content. I know on TikTok and Instagram, posted all the time. So go check her out. Make sure you subscribe. Before we get into things, like I said, one more shout out to subscribe to our channel. Like, subscribe, share, do all the things that help support the channel as we continue to grow, and get your comments in. We're going to be responding to comments throughout our episodes, so we'd love to hear from you. With that out of the way, Leah, let's start with this. Xavi's out, right? He's leaving at the end of the season. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on what is next steps for Barcelona in terms of who might be coming in, who do you want to see come in, and then where do you see Xavi landing as well? Where might he be going after his Barcelona days are done?
I feel like the whole situation, I feel like many Barcelona fans are just really upset about it because they wanted him to stay, they wanted him to succeed, and I feel like last season we saw somewhat of his potential. I feel like he's just very limited on his tactics since he's still new to coaching. So I feel like in the future, once he gets that experience, hopefully he could come back if he wants to deal with the media again and the toxic environment that they have. But in regards to who to bring in, it's confusing because then you have the likes of Hansi Flick, who has proven himself at Bayern, but it's will he be able to do that at Barca? And then you have De Zerbi, who's doing really well at Brighton. Their playing style is great, but will he be able to enforce that at Barca, where the standards are different? And it's not to say anything bad about Brighton. It's more of they don't have to win a trophy every year. Where at Barca, you have to win a trophy every year. If you don't, then it's a bad season, basically.
I think the service is gonna be if he comes to Barca, he's gonna be devoured by the media.
He's gonna be like a Setien.
Yeah. I think he's just young in the sense of his managerial tenure. So I think that's where I don't think it's a match. We need somebody more proven. That's where I'm coming from. I don't know. What's kind of your preferred choice?
I prefer Hansi Flick because at least he won a sextuple.
Yeah, Booga loves that. Yeah.
I don't even know. I just feel like I like his mentality. I think even when Bayern were beating Barcelona 8-2, he still looked like he wasn't impressed by the situation. And I feel like a lot of the players right now look really lazy, and it's really annoying and frustrating. So maybe somebody like him will come in and be like, you're not a star. You haven't proven yourself yet. Even if you won La Liga, that's not enough. You got to, pick up the tempo and actually start doing something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I know Pablo's looking for Tuchel there, but I think more and more I'm seeing that it's maybe going to be Hansi Flick. It'll be interesting, I think, in terms of the timing.
I was just gonna say, John, because let's Bayern are like capitulating week by week here, with like whether Tuchel could go out. It's like, is he going to go? Is he going to not? I'm like, oh, and then I think the thing is, the second Bayern lose Tuchel, I know they'll obviously be looking for Xabi Alonso, but if they get rid of Tuchel before the end of the season, I think Flick would want to go there, and I think two, they'd want Flick. So I'm really interested to see how that works. I think at the moment, Flick is probably the most likely for Barca, but if Tuchel goes and then they snatch Flick all of a sudden. And he's a Barcelona manager.
I heard reports that apparently like Flick prefers Barca because it's more of a challenge and he doesn't want to go to Bayern. But in regards to Tuchel, I heard people talking about it, and I feel like the thing with Tuchel is you've seen him blown up like when it comes to the media. You see that with Bayern, you saw it with Chelsea, you saw it even with like PSG. And considering how bad the media is on Xavi, it's going to be even worse on Tuchel. So I don't think that's going to mix well.
That's a great point, actually. Yeah.
Always gets a bit fiery with old TT.
What was the last manager that Barcelona had that was not either part of the club or at least Spanish, or was it? I guess Setien.
Ernesto Valverde. I don't know if he was 100% supported by the media, but the more of the hate came from the fan base rather than the actual media.
Yeah.
He was given way more time. He was way more on the side of the players as well. So I think that someone like, for instance, Luis Enrique, if he comes in, he's gonna get once again hated by the media because that's what they do. That's what they do in Spain. But I don't know. I think Ernesto Valverde was the last one that really could control, the tides of the Spanish media.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. Like I said, there's a little bit of a lag before we actually get a decision made. But Leah, you mentioned the experience of Xavi kind of being a problem. So I'd agree with you on that maybe he came to Barcelona a little bit early. Maybe there's still a few learning curves he needs. So what do you see as Xavi's next steps? Where does he go from here?
I honestly think Xavi needs a break. That man looks so drained. Yesterday, you saw his face against, like, I don't even know. He just looked like he was done. He wasn't even celebrating Lewandowski's goal anymore. He just needs to take a break for a year and then maybe go to like a team either like in a second division side or preferably like maybe a team that's like in like the top league in their country but not in like the top 5 leagues in Europe. Maybe that will do him well so he could gain that experience.
Yeah, that would make sense. Maybe like a national team even? I don't know. Pablo, Buga, what do you guys think? What do you see as next steps for Xavi?
Yeah, definitely a break. I think Leah's right on that one. He does look really worn out, really broken. He's aged a good 5-10 years there, by the way. And like in that 2 years at Barca, can we just say that? But yeah, I think a break. And then I'm really interested to see where he goes because I think he definitely has, in my opinion, actually fallen short a little bit tactically this season. I think it's a bit worrying when your team is that good last season in a certain aspect of the game, like we were defensively, and then you flip it backwards the next season. That's a bit worrying. I know we've had changed a few players, but not enough for it to be that bad. So I think obviously there's a few, holes in his game there maybe, but I think maybe England, he'd go to genuinely. I think obviously in the Premier League now that there's so many big clubs coming, because they've got so many big budgets, like the Aston Villas, the Brightons. I'm not saying he'd go to one of those. Maybe he would go to one of the traditional top 6, but there's so many options, I feel like, for managers to go to and still be regarded a good club. Like De Zerbi now at Brighton, he's still regarded as like a manager Barcelona would want. So I think you can still be in the limelight and not necessarily be in the top 6 clubs. So I think I could see Xavi in England, honestly, in the next 5 years or so. Because I think in Spain, he'd only go Barca, wouldn't he, really? So I know he could be a German club.
Somewhere in La Liga, right? That would be a surprise.
For me, it would be a little bit, yeah. Even like a Real Sociedad or something. I don't know. Why would he go from winning La Liga at Barca? I don't know. I couldn't see it, basically.
Buga, what do you think?
I think he either goes to take like a national team, but a lesser known national team, like I don't know, the Bahrain national team or something like that, and then, or he goes to what? Or he goes to like manage, I don't know, like a Nottingham Forest or something like that. I do think that that's a sort of possible destination for him, where he gets that extra steps and maybe improve. I could see.
Sorry.
What?
Pablo couldn't handle that one.
No, really? And I'm gone. Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, why not?
That is a pelter from you.
Yeah, he's following. Yeah, he wants to go manage Matt Turner and Gio Reyna. He's a huge fan of these young American talents. It's a big draw for guys like Xavi.
Friends of
Or
the
he
pod.
goes to like
Friends of the pod, yeah.
or he goes to like I don't know, like a Stoke City and following the steps of Bojan Kirkic or something like that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
God, he's got a fascinating career ahead. He must be buzzing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be curious. I'll be very curious.
Yeah.
Part of me was like, I think the biggest move I could see him make is actually stepping into the Spanish national team. I don't think he's done enough to prove himself at that level.
They're not gonna let him. The Spanish national team is even controlled by the same people who control the Liga. They're not gonna allow him. Like,
We don't want to get canceled. Don't say that. Don't say that. Leah, go ahead.
I honestly prefer him coaching it than the current one because the current manager does not know how to deal with youngsters. We've seen it with Pedri. We've seen it with Gavi. I'm actually really scared for Lamine Yamal now. Just putting that out there. So I rather have Xavi because at least he knows how to manage the youngsters better, or somebody that knows how to manage the youngsters because I don't trust that guy.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. That brings up a good point. I now am also a little bit scared for Lamine.
Yeah, but imagine if Xavi goes to the
Big De La
Spanish.
Fuente.
Yeah, imagine if he goes to the Spanish national team and he doesn't call up like Nacho or Carvajal and any other Real Madrid player. He's gonna get crucified.
You mean what if he makes the right decisions? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Something I hear all that. Sorry, who do they want? Well, as someone who follows the national team, Carvajal and Joselu now would be the second striker for me, to be fair, behind Morata. And Brahim Diaz I would take as well, by the way. I think he's a class player.
Sure. Yeah.
Other than that, Nacho, no.
But you know how Madrid fans.
He
No
doesn't,
to Nacho.
he doesn't suit it, honestly. I'd rather Inigo.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get into that if he does get named national team coach. We'll put a pin in that one. Let's jump into some Champions League because we do know for sure that Xavi is leading Barcelona through at least this first tie. Who knows what can happen? But we got Napoli on the books. Leah, how you feeling about things going into this first tie?
You see, Napoli's not doing that great either, but Barcelona is making teams like Granada look like they're fighting in the Champions League. So it's like, unless the one big problem Barca have, besides the fact that Gavi's not there, and I pretty much think that he's the heart of the team, is the fact that they're not communicating with one another. They're just passing just to pass, and when you pass with no purpose, then what you get is the quality that Barcelona are giving right now. So I feel like it's possible that they could, win, but if they don't communicate defensively, and it's not just defenders I'm talking about, it's like, the whole team as a whole defending as a unit, then they're going to concede a lot of goals, bottom line.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, I still worry about us in Europe. I think I said that earlier. Everyone is worried about Barca away from home in Europe. You're right there, Leah. Yeah, people speak about Napoli as if they're having like a crap season. They are, but watch Wednesday night. No, that's not going to be the Napoli that's been playing in Serie A this season. They are going to step it up, and we're probably going to let them. We're going to invite it. The atmosphere is going to be electric. It's going to be like there's going to be some tough moments in there for us, and that annoys me. I just want us to be able to go and dispatch of a team in Europe, especially a team like Napoli who are mid-table in Serie A, whatever they are. We should be going out as Barcelona and be like, we should be taking care of them. Like Real Madrid would take care of them. They do 2-0 first leg, 3-1 second leg, goodbye. We will make a scrap out of that. I wouldn't be surprised at like a 1-1 draw here, and then maybe we win 2-1 at Montjuic or something. But I'd actually be quite surprised if Barca win on Wednesday. I'm going to put that out there actually as my early prediction. I'd be quite surprised if we win. We might draw.
Yeah, me too. I think that Napoli over there, they're thinking the same thing about the Champions League as we do. They're thinking, okay, our season is scrap. What's the one thing that we can fight for? Right now, it's the Champions League. Yeah. And they're going to be tuned up for that game. And I don't know if you read this before jumping into the podcast, but there are reports that they want to sack Walter Mazzarri ASAP, right now, even before the Barcelona game. So if that happens, or even if they're thinking about sacking the manager, the players are going to have an instant injection of motivation. And you never want that. You never want to be the first game after the manager gets sacked, because they always win. I've seen that plenty of times, that always the team wins after that. So I think that they're going to be up for this game, particularly at the Olímpico or Estadio Maradona.
Yeah, Barcelona playing in Europe means that there is blood in the water. We are so far from teams fearing Barcelona. We get, what was it, third division teams draw Barcelona in Copa del Rey and they erupt with excitement, right? That's where Barcelona is right now. So that alone, with everything else that was shared here, I think makes me worry for this leg one. If we keep it within a goal, I don't care what it is. If it's a 4-3 or if it's a 1-0, I don't care. If it's within a goal, I feel confident going into the second leg. And I will say Barcelona undefeated away from home in La Liga. So this is a little bit further to travel. It is European competition. We haven't been doing great lately, but keep it within a goal, and I think we got hope.
Yeah.
To be fair, Barcelona I don't want to say this, but they actually do better when it's like a team that is supposedly like a top team. Like they tend to give up when it's a team like in the relegation zone, but when it comes to those big teams, they actually like, aside from the Supercopa de España final, they actually do like act better.
I'm with you on that. Okay, so let's go quick round of predictions for this this Napoli tie.
Wait, before, just one thing. What do you think, guys, Xavi's gonna go with? Like we talked briefly before Leah came in about 4 midfielders, or she's gonna go like 3 attackers. What would you do?
Possibly, if he wants, he could do something where it's like kind of like a 4 midfielders, but instead place Fermin as like a false left wing, because he has played on the wing before. And then Fermin, if he wants, could come into the midfield if he wanted to, and I feel like that would just work better.
I didn't know you were a tactical master genius, because I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking playing like Fermin as a false left winger. That's exactly what I was going for. I think that's the one thing that would work, because we just need somebody else. Gavi ideally would play this game if Gavi was fit.
Yeah.
You know, he would be playing left winger.
Sure.
So Fermin, I think, is the closest we have to that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like Fermin is like the energy that Barcelona lack, and maybe it's because he's from La Masia. He has the same like love for the team as Gavi, and maybe that's something that Barcelona need right now.
Yeah, and then that means
what?
4 midfielders I think he'll go for. Lamine and Lewandowski, and then I think we obviously Gundogan, Pedri, and De Jong, right? And then it's +1, isn't it? Well, unless he does the Christensen thing, I suppose he could do that again. I don't know if I would though. You know, I don't know how well that experiment has gone. By the way, can we just say that? Like they sort. I think also Christensen is so good at the back as well. That's why he's good at progressing the ball. Like in midfield, he's being asked to do really different things with the ball. I don't know if it's working. So I think I'd probably do, yeah. Maybe I'd chuck Fermin in there as a 4th midfielder, and then I'd probably start Christensen in defence, actually, you know, his normal position. Cancelo on the left, Christensen, Araujo, Koundé.
That's what I was going to ask. If you think Xavi's going to go with the youngster Kubarsi, or maybe slide Christensen back in. Leah, what do you think? You're shaking your head now.
I want him to, because I know like he has done really well in my eyes, maybe making some mistakes, but even like a 32-year-old will make the exact same mistakes. So I don't really care much for that. And I saw many people like blaming him for like the game the other day, which I didn't understand why. But in regards to him, I just don't want to put that much pressure on him, especially when it's a Champions League game and you know that the Barcelona fans are going to criticize every single mistake, and I just don't want to do that to him.
Yeah. That's smart. That's smart. Keeping an eye out for the youngsters there. I appreciate that. Okay, let's do a quick round of predictions, and then I wanna look further into the future. I want to get Leah's thoughts on who should be playing left wing for Barcelona come next season. So let's do some predictions. Leah, we'll start with you. What can we expect from this match?
It's only the first leg, right?
Only the first leg, yeah.
I'm going to say 1-1. Keeping it simple because Barcelona can't score their chances, but I feel like they'll at least score one chance. And I'm going to hope that it's like a tie, if anything.
Okay. 1-1. Pablo, where are you at?
Yeah, 1-1. Concede first and equalise in the second half.
Buga's contemplating. I'm gonna up the ante a little bit. I'm gonna say 2-2. And it's a little bit more of an open match than we expect. Leaky midfields.
Okay, so I went viral for making a video called "How to Beat Bayern Munich in under 8 minutes," and we lost 8-2. So I want to predict Barcelona to win 2-1.
Okay, all right. We'll take it. We'll of course circle back to that next week. We'll see how we did. But for now, Leah, we'll get you out after this one. What are your thoughts on left wing position for next year? There's kind of some tiers depending on how much Barcelona want to invest. There's, of course, Ansu Fati maybe coming back. Maybe we buy a Felix. There's Nico Williams. There's a Rafael Leao. Who knows? Who knows? What are your thoughts? Who would you like to see? Who do you think Barcelona are going to have come next season?
Well, first, I do think the priority is getting a pivot. That has been Barca's biggest issue, but I do feel like, based on that, I wanting them to invest more in a CDM, that I do feel like players like Rafael Leao, I'm hearing players like Kvara, I just feel like those players are so out of reach out of Barca's budget, thinking financially, Barca just don't have that freedom. Yeah. I really want Nico Williams. I respect the fact that, like, his Basque pride and everything, but I know that it's not probably going to happen this season, but maybe something to look forward to for the future. If Ansu comes back, I know that he's inconsistent. He's not the same Ansu he once was, but I am seeing that he's more confident at Brighton, and if Barca want to save money, maybe they just go with that. In regards to João Felix, doing business with Atletico Madrid is just terrible. If Barcelona managed to get, like, a second loan, like, deal, then, like, that's fine. There's also talks about Mitoma, which I haven't really seen much of him, but I heard he's good. I heard that he's good technically, but I don't really know much in regards to, like, his ability overall, since, like, I don't really watch him play all that much.
Sure. So do you have somebody that you would prefer to see? That's realistic, of course. I mean, we could dream big dreams, but who would you prefer out of the realistic options?
Well, here's the thing. I think the one that's, like, the best fit for Barca is Kvara. But but that's out of reach. So realistically speaking, I think they just have to bring Ansu back, because I just don't see how they could afford money for literally anybody. I don't think Brighton are going to let Mitoma go. There's talks about Martinelli. I don't think Arsenal are going to let him go. I just think Ansu is, like, the safest option at this point.
Yeah. What do you think, Pablo? What are we going to see?
Yeah, I feel that. I think, like, we could probably only make one big money signing, right? You know, if that even, for me, it has to go into a pivot. It does, unfortunately. And maybe that means then when Gavi comes back, you know, you prioritise 4 midfielders again, or you bring Ansu back. But yeah, I think the issue is, I don't think any of the left wingers that you're naming are the ones on our radar. I don't think they're good enough for 70 million, actually. Like, I don't think that, then none of those guys, in my opinion, are actually going to come in and get like 10, 15 goals and like 10, 15 assists. I'm actually not sure they are. Even at Leal's been faltering a bit. Like, Nico Williams is a great player. I think he'd be a really good signing. Kvaratskhelia, but again, him, I don't know how many goals he'd score. So, like, with these guys, I think for me it's just safer to put the money into a pivot.
Uga, where are you at with things?
I mean, CDM is one position that we desperately need. That's where the money should go. But we're talking about Laporta, and Laporta is a rock star, and he's gonna do something, especially if Real Madrid, even if they start the window by signing Alphonso Davies, he's gonna want something to happen. And I know he's cooking something. Like, they've told me personally. Like, he's called me personally and said, I'm cooking. So
Laporta, friend of the pod.
Yeah. So I think he's gonna do something crazy. We know that he's making some arrangements now in Dubai, with Saudi Arabia. He's trying to close some deals for a company over there, stuff like that, trying to get some more palancas. So I think something's going to happen. And if we're talking about, you know, those players, Martinelli, Leao, Kvaratskhelia, and then who else mentioned? Mitoma.
Williams.
Yeah, or Nico Williams. I think that the one he would go for, knowing sort of the profile that Laporta is as a guy, I guess he's not a footballer, is Leao. I think he's looking at Leao probably like a Ronaldinho when he once signed him. He signed Ronaldinho, right? I'm quite sure on that.
Yeah, he did.
That was, if I remember correctly, that was a big part of Laporta getting his initial election, was the promise of bringing in a Ronaldinho, which he delivered on from PSG.
Yeah. And
didn't he promise Beckham, or have I made that up? And then had to get Ronaldinho because he couldn't get Beckham.
You might be right about that.
Could have pulled that out anyway.
Yeah,
I do. By the way, isn't Leao Mendes as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's game set match.
I think that's the one he would go for, and I don't know. I think there is 1% possibilities that a certain, is it an amphibian, a little turtle, could walk through the door.
Are you saying Mbappe?
Yeah, but Ethan Mbappe.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
No, but I do. Look, I only need 8 minutes with Mbappe, and I convince him to come to Barcelona. I swear to God, it just makes so
What?
much more sense. It makes way
All right.
more
It
sense.
does
for him
make
to
more
join.
sense. It
Yeah,
does make more sense if you think about
that's
it.
a one.
Because you can go
Go.
first. Oh, because I was gonna say, like, they get Mbappe, great, fine. Like, I'm upset that they're getting Mbappe. Like, I'll admit it. But you have Vinny, you have Rodrigo, you have Brahim, you have Ozelu, you have Bellingham. Like, you have even Arda Güler. You have all these players that want to start. If they're not going to start, they're going to get mad. They're going to want to leave. I don't know if it's going to be an ego issue. I honestly don't know because they don't seem to be having that right now. But I also feel like Barca's playstyle does suit Mbappe more. And it would make more sense for him to come, but financially, I understand it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, look, I agree with Leah here. I was thinking about it the other day, and I literally couldn't sleep. It makes so much more sense. The play style makes way more sense for Mbappe to come here. Second, if I'm Mbappe, first of all, you play sort of in that left wing forward position where Vinicius already plays. Where are you going to play? Where's Mbappe going to play? You can just tell him the idea that you're going to come here. You're going to get straight number 10 from Lionel Messi, the greatest ever to ever lived. And then you're going to be the face of something new. And that, I don't know, footballers are sort of, they always think good about themselves. They will have that ego about them. If you tell them, Mbappe probably thinks he can come to Barcelona and easily fix this situation. And that's the sort of things that you can sell, and the intangibles that sort of Real Madrid don't have. And of course, money-wise, it's a problem. But I just think that it makes sense. And I guess that if you something, I think it's not going to be. I don't think Mbappe to Real Madrid is as clear-cut as they are saying it's going to be.
Oh man! All right. Well, we'll continue that conversation. I think we're gonna do one last little segment here, but we're gonna get Leah out of here. I know you got to run. Leah, any final thoughts before we let you go?
Nothing. Just hoping Barcelona get it together, and that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, Leah, thank you again for being our first official guest on the channel. One more time, where can people find you?
Just on my TikTok and Instagram, which is simply Leah Binkin. And thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, Leah. We will get you back on here sometime soon. Thank you again. And we'll be right back with our final segment. All right, we're back, folks. Again, shout out to Leah. Appreciate her coming on, sharing her thoughts and opinions here. Make sure you do give her a follow on TikTok and Instagram. We're going to jump back in. I know Pablo and I still want to get some thoughts in around this Mbappe situation. And then I've been teasing you for 2 weeks now with this Would You Rather. It's going to be disappointing at this point, I feel like. But I'm going to ask it anyway. Before we get to that, Pablo, thoughts on Mbappe to Real Madrid? Is it done deal, set in stone, or maybe is there some curveballs before we get there?
Yeah, he'll be a Real Madrid player in a few months. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go.
I mean, I'm just shocked he's actually doing it, by the way, because I think Real Madrid fans have sort of had like the little the bait dangled in front of them for a few times, and he's gone nope, last minute, which I think is ridiculous.
3
by the way,
seasons in a row now.
And I think that would piss Florentino Perez off, by the way. You don't mess with Real Madrid. They're, Mr. Noble, the kings of football. If you want to come, you come. If not, don't play about with us, is what they think. So that wouldn't have gone down well. But apparently, because Mbappe texted Florentino personally, he took it to heart really well. So, okay, fair enough. If that's the get out of jail free card, then sure. But I think, he'll be a Real Madrid player. I'm just shocked, he's gone ahead with it. He's told the teammates, he's told Al Khelafi, he's out, he's gone. And it'll be to Real Madrid, I think. He's got his heart set on that move. I think it will be. I do, however, and I've said this for a long time, have my concerns about him on that left wing for Real Madrid. I think they'll make it work because they always do. But that's Vinicius' place. And people who don't know Mbappe wants the left flank. He's like, move out the way, this is my spot. He actually got really angry at PSG when they were playing him up front. He said, I need the left. And they pushed Neymar centrally for it. And they've done all sorts to make sure that we've got a striker from Mbappe so that he can have the left. He doesn't want to be like a target man. He wants to give me the ball on the left and I'll just run at people or slip me in behind. That's what Vinicius also loves. That is Vinicius at Real Madrid. That's how Real Madrid play currently. So I'm so intrigued. I know what everyone's saying, that he can replace Rodrigo where Rodrigo's playing. Mbappe off the right, it'll still be fine, but it's not optimal. Same with down the middle. And then sort of Bellingham's been going down the middle, Rodrigo's on the right. I don't know. I'm really intrigued to see how they work it out. Could be a bit of a personality clash, honestly. Obviously, he won't get his number 7 either, by the way. He'll get the number 10, I'm guessing, when Modric leaves. But, I mean, that'll be no biggie, I suppose. But, yeah, I'm just interested to see, because obviously the way Real players like get the ball to Vinicius and run, that's the way Mbappe will want it. He won't want to be on the end of Vinicius's crosses. He'll be like, get me the ball first, bin him off.
That's what I think. I think he is not going to want to be in a position where he has to rely on somebody else to feed him at the end.
Yeah.
I think it's a pipe dream to think that Vinny, Mbappe, and Rodrigo are all going to share the wealth, and it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows, and everybody's singing Kumbaya. Like Messi, Neymar, Suarez took massive ego checks by Messi and Suarez to fit in Neymar. Who out of that trio of Rodrigo and Vinny Jr. and Mbappe is going to be a big enough person to go, I'll play second or third fiddle. Yeah, I'll play rhythm guitar while you shred out there in front of everybody, right? Who's going to be that? You would say Rodrigo.
Yeah, you would.
Right? But who knows?
He's on that point. Yeah, he's almost a less important. It worked with Messi saying that. That's what Messi was so good at. He's like, I'm fine with dropping off a bit. I don't have to score 80 goals a season. These guys can have 20 each too. Like he fed them. Rodrigo's like, he's a great player, but he's the worst of the three. He's not really the one who needs to say, I'll share it. It's almost like Vinicius or Mbappe need to say, I'm happy to like share it. If we work as a three, superb. I just feel like Mbappe and Vinicius mainly are like, I want to be the guy. Give me the ball, like, and don't get on my back about it. Just like feed me and I'll do the rest.
I know that we talk Rodrigo, but realistically, I think the other guy that wants the spotlight, it's Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
Like I think he would be way more, the way that he speaks, he's a very confident young person. Like, I'm going to be honest with him. I really like him. He was the one player where I went last season and go like, fuck, he's gonna improve Real Madrid in every single way. He's such a great footballer. Yeah. His ambition is unmatched. And that's the one thing that I go like, how can you fit all of this together? That's the main problem that I see at Real Madrid. And look, if there's one person that can make it work, is Don Carlo Ancelotti, because that guy, he's just sublime. I think he can make something work out of all those superstars. But if I'm that player, I 100% will be thinking, how do I make this happen? Where am I gonna shine? And I'm not sure, like Pablo is saying, that any of them is ready to do that. Like they're gonna be having to what, like a 4-2-3-1 and have Vinicius for the left, and Mbappe for the middle, Rodrigo for the right, and then what, Bellingham as at number 10. So
yeah, that's what that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
See, that's where I actually think Bellingham could be the one that is the rock, the foundation, the one that makes the sacrifice and is the true leader of that club. Like if they bring in Mbappe, don't look to him to be the actual leader. Like he'll be vocal, he'll be demanding, but he's not the player that the other players are going to look to when times get tough. You know what I'm saying? Like I do think, to his credit, I think that is going to be Jude Bellingham. So I would look to him to make those personalities fit in. Actually, if it's going to work, it's Jude Bellingham being like, I'm actually the young superstar. I'm actually the one that's meant to carry this team. I don't care who you are, Mbappe, Vinny Jr., whoever. You're getting in line behind me. It may have to take something like that.
Yeah, and we're also not talking about the fact that I do think that the first player that they're going to sign this window is going to be Alphonso Davies. I think that is going to happen as well. I've seen the reports. I do think that's the one position where they're also going to strengthen this season. And I think that they are building a super team. They're building the Galacticos 2.0. It's going to work. Let's remember that last time they did that, it didn't, because there was a certain emergence of a Leo Messi, and now there's a certain emergence of a Lamine Yamal. But the thing about Barcelona is that let's bring it back to Barça. How do they compete with it? How do they compete with that sort of level? And realistically, this Barcelona right now, I would be scared. But when you look at it on paper, you say, we have what? You have Lamine Yamal. You have, look, just imagine. Gavi, Pedri, Frankie de Jong, Araujo, Balde, João Cancelo, Koundé, Ter Stegen, Ansu Fati, let's say they buy Rafa Leao or whatnot, and then Lamine Yamal. If they're all playing to the level that they should, or they are the best that we've seen them, I wouldn't be scared of whatever Real Madrid put through the door. I wouldn't, because they're incredible players, all of them, and I think they can compete. It was at a time, at a moment in time, it was Mbappe, Haaland, and Ansu Fati for that race of who's going to be the best player. And I think that we can still have that. But the problem is that there's, with the state of the club right now, the team that are performing, I think there's no way really to have any sort of hope. I don't know if am I just being too pessimistic?
Well, I think if you look at the teams today, right? If Mbappe joins Real Madrid today and they're playing today's Barcelona, I'm terrified. But Barcelona we are just, the future is just one turn. It's one corner away from us. You know what I mean? Like, talk to me in 2 years is what I'd say. And so I think Barcelona, even if and when we'll say Mbappe joins Real Madrid, I do think Barcelona have a brighter future. And so that kind of gets me into the next would you rather. So I'm going to hit you with it. If we looked at the next 10 years, would you rather have 10 La Liga titles but 0 Champions League titles, or 0 La Liga titles but 2 Champions League titles over the next 10 years? Which would you rather have?
God, that's a really good one for different reasons. By the way, I know it might seem like obvious, but you have to consider Barcelona's situation of, like, say we were to go another 10 years, having won La Liga every year and then not won a single Champions League. The questions that would be asked would be mammoth. By the way, they would be: how are you the best team in Spain for a decade in a league with Real Madrid and Atleti, and you can't win the Champions League? Are you, like, clinically unwell? There would be a big like scandal about that. There would be. I think that's underestimated. So, but then to not win La Liga for 10 years, I mean, I'm going to go for the 10 La Ligas one.
Ooh.
Can I say that? But I think it's a really good question, because I think it's, for both ways, there'd be big questions asked. Maybe even weirdly less questions asked about the 2 Champions Leagues one.
Ugo, where are you at with it? You seemed a little bit put off by this question.
First of all, I was going to say 100% the 10 La Ligas, but then Pablo started talking, and he dragged me to the other side of, it actually makes a lot of sense. Depends on the question. Is this back-to-back Champions League? Is this one Champions League at the start of the decade, one at the end? Where are we situated with this? I also want to know, who do we beat? Look, if Barcelona beat Real Madrid in a final in any of those 2 Champions Leagues, I'll take that 100%. That's one thing that easily you can never go away from. Like, is it River that beat Boca in the final of the Copa Libertadores last time at the Bernabeu? That's one thing that for decades, until Boca equalized them and then surpassed them, they're never gonna be at that level. I still think Boca is a bigger club, but like, you know what I mean? Like, when it comes to the chit chat in the classroom with your friends, you know, the la chacota, how we say in Spanish, or, well, at least in Peru, that thing is is one that just, I think, matters the most. So I don't have an answer, not yet.
That's the whole point of the would you rather.
That's not how this works, Bruga.
You got to pick one.
I'll give my thoughts and give you a moment to think about it. I am with you on it. Kind of depends on where those Champions League titles would come in. Because 10 years from now, our core players are going to be in their prime. So if you said to me, you know, the next 8 years we're going to suffer, but then we're going to win back-to-back Champions Leagues, and it's on from there, would I sacrifice 10 years of La Liga titles for that? Oof. It would have to. I would say I'd take the Champions League titles as long as they come on the back end of that 10 years, and it's not Real Madrid winning for the next 10 years. It's a splattering of Atletico, maybe a Real Sociedad pops up in there and wins one, something like that. And Barcelona are competing that whole time. If we're competitive and it's not Real Madrid winning La Liga every time, I would take the 2 Champions
But you know
Leagues.
what? You look at what we're discussing. This question has made us look like fools, John.
You get so triggered by this.
Yes, because you're making us look like fools, dude. Why? Because we are basing the success of our club and our happiness on another club. And that's just dreadful. That's sad. I'm sad right now talking about it. I'm really sad about it. Because
it really does. It highlights.
We're pathetic.
It highlights. Do we prefer to be seen as better than Madrid or top of the world? Because those are two different things sometimes.
Yeah, like
better than Madrid means we're winning La Liga 10 years in a row, and we get to talk shit on Real Madrid no matter what. But
then if they're winning the Champions League same season, they just dump us on that. They don't care about the league.
Yeah, I would say the Twitter wars are kind of even in those cases. Like Barcelona have some pretty good backfire when we win La Liga, particularly when it comes with victories over Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Like I would say it's not a total loss for Barca in those cases.
You know the reason I'm going to go for the 10 La Ligas though is because this might hurt a few people. This might hurt a few people, but I don't think it would be an incredibly bizarre thing to say that Barcelona don't win a single Champions League in the next 10 years. And that's why I'm going to go for the 10 La Ligas, because
that would mean it would be 20 years with Barcelona not winning a Champions League.
Shit, yeah.
Dude,
two Champions League years.
We're almost 10 years since.
We're almost 10 years.
We're almost. The other day I thought about that, and it's wow. Like it's monumentous. But let's be honest. And this is one thing that I think we should end on. Barcelona is a relatively new super team. Like it's a relatively big club. Like it's not that they've been humongous for ages. It's been just 15
It's just
years.
the Lionel Messi area. Ronaldinho coming in 2004 really did change things for Barcelona in terms of being on the grand scale. Like, we can sign the best player in the world right now and we can bring him in. But even then, how many times have Barcelona brought in the best player in the world?
They haven't.
How many times have we done
produced the best player. They not even produced.
Exactly.
Like, we produce Messi, then when you produce Xavi, you produce Iniesta, one things like that. And the one thing that we can always rely on is La Masia. I think it's by far the best school of football in the world. That's one thing that is always going to produce. Like, we're always going to survive because of it. But we are relatively a newest club. It's like the best way to describe it is that right now we are just talking shit because we don't know what's going to happen. It's like we've never seen the first YouTuber retire, if you know what I mean. Like, this era is relatively new. What we're doing right now, a podcast, we haven't seen what happens when a person reaches 80 years of age. Do they give the podcast to their children? Do they just stop the podcast? What happens? We haven't seen that. The same thing with football, in a sense. It's like we've just seen this right now. And I'm just talking way too philosophical right now. But it's the truth.
He's going deep,
what I
everybody.
mean? But you know what I mean. I get my point across.
Yeah. The landscape changed for Barcelona in the early mid 2000s with Ronaldinho, with Pep Guardiola, with Lionel Messi, and now that chapter has ended, as we've seen appropriately named on Amazon, it is a new era, and we're very early on into it. So, yeah, I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for what's coming up. I think we will go ahead and wrap up there next week. We'll be talking results from Leg 1 against Napoli. Who do we have in La Liga coming up? We have Getafe coming up on the weekend. So we'll be talking Napoli. We'll be talking Getafe results. We'll see where we stand, but we'll be coming at you with another episode. So tell your friends, come back, leave your comments, ask your questions. We appreciate y'all hanging out, and we'll catch you next week right here on Más que un Podcast.